warm the body up and get a feeling of it. And maybe you pick one or two that work for you, and some of them don't feel like you get any feeling, and some of them they do. What you're looking for is always to have less feeling in the shoulder and the muscles of the arm, and some feeling around your shoulder blade. This is, I mean, I remember a famous movement specialist called Ido Portal that I tried to get to do a workshop with us in London years ago. That's another story. But he used to say, and he's kind of Israeli and kind of harsh. I kind of like him in some ways. He used to say, any idiot, any 2-year-old baby can lift themselves up. They've got a strong enough abdomen, right? If you can walk, and you're, 2 years old, you can strong enough abdomen. That's not the problem. Your core strength is your ability to mobilize your upper body, your scapula, right? So let's take it out of the stomach and put it somewhere else. So give enough attention to the fact the hand is a process. Your hand is not an inanimate object, a piece of wood to press into. It's a process, and you pull with it. You consistently pull with your hand, and that pulling motion affects your back. So when you're going around, you see I'm slightly lifting my hand even, and I'm pressing particularly my fingertips, and I'm trying to get the feeling of getting some movement in my shoulder blades. Now you see, we know the cat-cow, and this is easy, but getting this feeling of, and what I did last time, I believe, is a figure of 8. And seeing if you can do a whole figure of 8 amongst your shoulder blades. So you have to find this for yourself, okay? And we're not really worried about breathing right now. We're just imagining that we're trying to connect the hand to the back or the hand to the shoulder blade. Now, if you press down your fingertips, I always find in all arm balances, pressing the fingertips really helps. The other thing when you're thinking about the hand, apart from the pulling motion, is you're trying to always spread the weight from the stabilizing baby finger to the root of the index finger, first finger. That's that one, right? So you're taking the weight across the palm, right? And look at my elbows. They generally spiral slightly inward, the elbows, but the shoulders are trying to go. The shoulders aren't going inwards as well. Otherwise, you end up like a gorilla, and that's no good. You want to keep the shoulders back and down whilst the elbows spiral. The second thing with the arm balance is you need to connect the legs to the torso. Now, as I mentioned in the chaturanga, you'll be surprised at how much difference it makes if you did it against the wall. If you do the chaturanga against the wall, immediately it's so easy to come down into it because you engage the legs by pushing the heels against the wall. Now, you need that engagement even without the prop. Sometimes we need to use props to get the feeling. Doesn't mean we'll need them forever because we're just trying to get a feeling. So again, you don't have to do these with me. It's up to you, right? Basic leg raises before we start the next part, which will be the L-sit and Lolasana. So, if you're going to do this with me, then conserve some strength, right? So you put the hands down, see if you can lift the legs, and just simply lifting them up and down. And then you could take one to the side and just circle. All you're trying to do, it doesn't really matter how much. Again, I don't believe you need to do loads of this. What you're trying to do is connect the legs to the torso. See if you can lean down really low, take the position, bring it up. So, I think perhaps there's nothing more developmental than these low leg raises in terms of my own jump back strength. So if you want, the little tip, I suppose, that I could categorically give you from my own experience is that to really develop my jump back and my arm balances, you would think it would be something to do with the arms, but it was actually just very low leg raises for, just connecting the thighs, the adductor muscle, because oftentimes you need to be able to support the legs in the air in a straight line or keep them to the chest. So if the legs are dropping down in the jump back, obviously your feet hit the floor, you can't come through, or in an arm balance, the legs feel heavy. And often it's the adductor muscle. The leg hasn't been connected to the stomach. Now, when I think of the foot, I don't think I'm lifting my foot. I think I'm reaching it out of the lower abdomen, reaching the toe out of the lower abdomen. And that makes it easier. If you feel like you're reaching the toe or holding the toe, it's much easier than feeling like you're lifting up your leg, right? You're lifting the leg, you lift it from the thigh muscle. If you reach the toe, you're using the abdomen, you're using the whole of the leg to reach the leg. So, again, just as I mentioned, that we don't think of the hand connected to the shoulder, we think of it as connected to the armpit or connected to the rest of the muscles in the back. We think of the foot or the big toe, particularly your big toe, that's connected to your lower abdomen. So you've got to reach it, and you hold it there quite easily. The practice of Ashtanga is like a shorthand. It's like the stage production when you need the rehearsal as well. And, you know, like everything's come together when you've got the primary series. And sometimes you need to reduce and isolate those small movements and know them a bit better, and then put them together in the final production of the sequence, you know. So unpicking and doing a few extra moves, there's no bad thing from time to time. You're squeezing the mat between the hands, pulling the mat apart, swiping the mat apart. Find your own inner metaphors, right? You know, that sounds a small, trifling detail, but if you're looking for the key of the inner body, you have to access it through symbol. It doesn't come from the rational mind. It comes from building a metaphors, you know, because you're mentally putting a pathway. Be open to the possibility. Just because it's you, doesn't mean you can't do it. You can. You probably can, right? If you're open enough to the possibility and you just have the interest to keep on inquiring and keep doing it and not giving up, I believe you probably can do it if I can do it. Right, so arm balances. The last section is a kind of bit of fun, really, in a certain manner. But I don't mind if you get bored. Look, the main thing about your yoga practice is you need to feel inspired and encouraged. And if you don't feel if you feel the juice has gone in your primary series, you feel a little, you're welcome to put a couple of extra postures on at the end, certainly of my classes, maybe not of other people's classes, that excite you and inspire you, because you need inspiration more than anything for your practice. If you're going to do this daily, you're going to need to keep being inspired, and just hammering away at that primary series is a little bit, a little bit brain numbing sometimes in the end. So, you're welcome to do a couple of these if you fancy.